name's Ray Williams, and I'm about to start the walk of the Monk's Trod, which was an ancient pathway that linked the abbeys of Abbey Cwm Hir with Strata Florida and the coast at Aberarth. I'm heading to Abbey Cwm Hir, where the journey begins. Here we are at Abbey Cwm Hir, near Llandrindod Wells in Powys, the remains of a Welsh Cistercian monastery founded in 1176 by Cadwallon ap Madog. The order's inspiration lay in the great movement begun at Citeaux in Burgundy, France at the end of the 11th century. The Cistercians returned to the rule of St. Benedict, who sought waste places around the world, and its call for self-sufficiency through prayer, hard work and so on. This was particularly so in Wales, where there were vast areas of wilderness. Between Abbey Cwm Hir and Strata Florida are the vast and barren Cambrian Mountains, stretching from Snowdonia in the north to the Brecon Beacons in the south. Even today, these uplands are the largest area of wilderness in England and Wales. For centuries they have formed a barrier from the east to the west of Wales, but this was the exact route that the monks of the 12th and 13th centuries wanted to travel between their monasteries and the coast. Keeping a large monastic order with hundreds of houses spread across Wales was a monumental task. Control called for constant communication between the founding abbeys and their daughter institutions. If good roads to the remote locations did not already exist, the monks built them. These trods, as they were called, were designed to be ridden on horseback, shortening the journey from several days to a few hours. It's clear that considerable work was done to cut the pathway into the slope. It wasn't just worn by many feet. All along the way the trod, the builders used a cut and fill technique, piling the cut-away earth from the top side onto the downhill side, creating a flat track. In places, it looks rather like a narrow railway track bed. The obvious conclusion is that this path was not simply for walking. It was designed to be ridden on horseback. In fact, everything about it is fashioned to make the ride easy. And indeed, accounts from the 12th century say that the journey from Strata Florida to Abbey Cwm Hir could be undertaken in a single day. Strata Florida translates from the Latin simply as the Vale of Flowers. The abbey itself lies in a small glaciated valley on the west side of the Cambrian Mountains and the northern end of the Tavy River system. To build an abbey here, the monks would have had to extensively drain this marshy valley floor and hand-dig small canals. Today all that remains is this ruin. However, we can still make out the importance of the abbey as a formidable administration centre. This fabulous arched entrance with its Celtic art, which could be seen across a vast expanse of cobbles by any visitor who came through the two-storey gatehouse. These maps help us get an extent of the layout: the monks' cells, the kitchens and the dining rooms and the reception areas. There would also have been a larger outer precinct containing farm buildings, gardens, orchards and other activities which were essential to keeping the monastery and its habitants running. It is believed that the abbey was originally spread out across much of the valley floor and may have covered as much as 100 to 120 acres of ground. Tell me, north wind of the Cwm, your route, reliable hymn. Over the lengths of the world you fly. Tonight, hill weather, please stay high. Aman, go over Upper Aeron, be lovely and cool, stay in clear tune. Kings, princes and barons of the feudal world got the spiritual and administrative support of the church if they endowed the monasteries with sufficient land to let them lead their monastic lifestyle. The price for giving this land was the promise of eternal salvation. So successful was this arrangement that some of these monasteries had become very wealthy indeed. They changed much, especially in the few square miles around the abbey itself, introducing advanced techniques of mining and metal processing to exploit the vast mineral wealth of the Cambrian Mountains. They built water wheels and even imported stone from Somerset. Yet they also left much alone, choosing rather to promote the well-being of their tenant farmers by the introductions of new systems of stock and crop management. Famously, they were known for their improvements in sheep farming on the uplands of the Cambrian Mountains and through their connections with the trading routes of Europe. They also fished on the coast, trading along Cardigan Bay and across to Ireland. And this is where the Trod ends, at the small village of Aberarth on the shores of Cardigan Bay. Access to the seashore was vitally important to the monks. The abundance of food in them meant that they built large stone traps, as you can see here today on the foreshore, where they caught fish on the high tide, salted it locally, and then carried it back up the Monk's Trod to Strata Florida. And suddenly, this vast complex and diverse administration centre and a network of trading routes came to an end with the dissolution of the monasteries by Henry VIII.